coming to you from Here For You Life Coaching, and we're going to talk about letting go of guilt today. Okay, so we'd like to acknowledge all of our affiliates. We'd like to acknowledge YouTube and Twitch, TikTok. We'd also like to acknowledge Trovo in Europe, Instagram, and Facebook. So let's get to it. Letting go of guilt. Now, step number one, when you are letting go of guilt, you have to understand what guilt is. Okay, guilt is emotion. Okay, plus the illusion of control. What does that mean? Well, let me use an example of a caregiver, okay? So a caregiver, right, when they feel guilty, okay, a caregiver is like, well, they feel guilty after they've really done their best, but they always feel that there's something else they could have done. So they feel guilty, okay? So good morning, Jake. So in order to, let that guilt go, okay, they have to resolve it. So first you have to understand what it is. And then step number two is you have to ask yourself, what are you really feeling? What am I really feeling? Okay, because guilt can, mask fear. Okay, so is it really fear or is it really guilt you're feeling? So you have to identify it, okay? And when you identify it, so like an example would be like a parent that blames themselves for their child's addiction. Okay, I was too hard on my child, and now he's addicted to this and that, and he's seeking an escape, and it was because of me, kind of thing. Okay, so that's an example of that. Guilt feels better than helplessness. Okay, so you have to understand the difference, because it gives us a false sense of control. Okay, so the example is when if you say you're a parent, you blame yourself for your child's addiction, and you've done the best possible thing you can do, okay, but you feel guilty because you think, okay, and this is thought again, you think you could have done more, okay, or you have that feeling you could have done something, when in actuality maybe not. Okay, in actuality maybe this is imagined. Okay, so you have to distinguish between fear and guilt, okay, because guilt can mask fear. Okay, so step number three, recognize that guilt is not always productive. Okay, when you're feeling guilty about something. Okay, and how do you release guilt? How do you release it? Do you let it go? Can you let go of the past? Can you truthfully let go, like forgive and forget? It has to become a new way of life. It has to be, you have to incorporate gratitude practices. Okay, so in Hawaiian Ho'oponopono, right? I'm sorry, please forgive you. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Okay, you're releasing guilt. Okay, in order to release guilt, you have to first know what it is, understand what you're feeling, okay, and recognize that guilt is not always productive, okay, because it keeps you from doing things. It keeps you busy but not helpful. Keeps you busy in here, right? But it holds you back from things. It prevents you from moving forward. Why? Because you feel guilty, okay? Now you have to identify what you can actually control. What part of this can I control? I'm feeling guilt, but what part of this can I control? Can I really change this? Should be the question. If yes, take action. Change it. Take the steps necessary to change it. If the answer is no, accept the limitations, because there will be limitations. Okay, so you have to, in other words, you can't fix someone else's illness, okay, but you can support them. You can give them love. You could show them love, okay, that will help. But you can't take responsibility for someone else's condition, okay? That's putting too much upon yourself. Everyone has their own life path. Everyone is here for a reason. Everyone's life path will unfold according to how they are in here. Their emotions, their thoughts, okay? A belief is a thought you keep thinking. So let's look at the tree again. Okay. The roots of the tree are your subconscious core beliefs. The trunk of your tree, okay, your psychological tree, okay, the trunk of your tree is your paradigm, okay? How you see the world, your perception, how you view things. Everyone's perception is different based upon their core beliefs. Now, from the trunk of the tree, from your paradigm, okay, people talk about paradigm shifts, right? Shifting your paradigm, that kind of thing, okay? From the root of the tree, we just lost our Facebook. We're going to try and get that back again. Okay, from the root of the tree, those are so the roots of your tree is your subconscious beliefs. I'm trying to get Facebook back. There we go. Okay, so the roots of the tree. Okay, so that's your core beliefs. Your paradigm is the way you see things, your perception, and then the fruits of the tree on the top. Okay, those are the actions, those are the habits, okay, the actions that turn into results or consequences, if you will. Okay, so those turn into consequences. So now when you get back to being powerless, right? Because guilt is preoccupying your thoughts. Whatever it is that you're feeling guilty about will actually translate down here into the roots as core beliefs. Okay, because a belief is a thought you keep thinking. The more you keep feeling guilt, the subconscious learns it. And it goes, okay, we're feeling guilty. Okay, we're feeling guilty about that particular thing. Okay. And it will start to learn and start to memorize the feelings of guilt for that particular thing. And this is why you need to change the core beliefs. Because your subconscious learns it. There is only the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. Okay, so the subconscious are your core beliefs. That's where it gets installed. If you want to look at it like a computer, it's easier to understand. Okay, so your conscious mind, there's only the conscious, subconscious, superconscious. The conscious mind is where you think a million thoughts a day. The most predominant thoughts go into your subconscious. Your subconscious is where the programs are installed. So your subconscious, okay, are your core beliefs. A belief is a thought you keep thinking. The more you think the thought, the firmer the belief is in your subconscious. What does the subconscious do? It starts creating actions. It starts creating pathways. Number one, to confirm what it is you believe. Okay, so it will start showing you evidence of what it is you believe. Okay, so if you believe in God and you see a miracle, it'll say, see, look, there, that's God right there. You see, God did that. Okay. It'll also suggest, because it works with the superconscious. Okay, so there's conscious, subconscious, superconscious. The subconscious works with the superconscious. The superconscious is consciousness or God, however you believe. I'm not here to tell you what to believe. But then you get inspired thought. So based upon what you believe, you draw upon the superconscious. And the superconscious will give you confirmation. The superconscious will confirm what it is the subconscious believes. And the subconscious will draw upon that. So, what can you actually control? Well, you can actually control guilt. You can actually rid yourself, or let's say it another way, free yourself of guilt. Does guilt come back? Yeah, just like fear. It comes back. Okay, so how do you do that? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. It's a big word. So, what do? Well, first, affirmations. Write it. I am so happy and grateful now that, what? What are you feeling guilty about? Okay, whatever it is, you write its opposite. I am so happy and grateful now that there is no longer a need for a diet. If you're feeling guilty about eating the wrong things, or whatever it is. Okay, that's just a top of the top of the mind kind of thing, right? I've been on a lot of diets. Okay, for example, you don't want to write any negatives. So you don't want to write, "I am so happy and grateful now that I'm not feeling any guilt," because that will enforce the guilt. That will enforce the thought. Okay, because God, universe, source, okay, Jesus Christ, keep naming names or references, does not recognize negatives. So if you're writing an affirmation that has a negative in it, I see a lot of young people doing that. I see a lot of young people on TikTok doing that. Okay, just know that it's not going to be recognized. So leave it out. Okay? Instead of "I am not going to smoke anymore," right? "It feels good to breathe clean air. I am so happy and grateful now that I'm breathing clean air. Thank you." There you go. Good morning, Karen. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you so much. So now, reframing powerlessness as a boundary. How do we do this? Powerlessness. Okay, when you're feeling guilt, you start to feel powerless. Okay, it's not failure, it's a signal that you've reached your limit. Okay, when you start to feel powerless, okay, when you start to feel paralyzed, when you start to feel like, "Oh, I can't get out of this, I can't move." Okay, fear of failure will do that to you. Fear will do that to you. Fear of anything will do that to you. Enough of it. It'll prevent you from moving forward. Okay, guilt is the same thing. Okay, so all the negative emotions are rooted in fear. Guilt is rooted in fear. But powerlessness is not failure. Okay, it sets emotional boundaries. How does it do that? Well, it helps you to protect your energy. So once again, if we put the dividing line here, and these are all the positive emotions, and at the very top is love, and if these are all the negative emotions, and at the very bottom is fear, okay, guilt lives over here on this side. So what's the solution? Focus on this side. Focus on these emotions. Focus on growing these. So somebody came to my office one day, and they stood in the middle of my office and they said, "I have to know what I'm doing wrong." And I said, "Why do you need to know what you're doing wrong?" Because I never told him anything that he was doing wrong. I never tell any of my clients what they're doing wrong. I don't point out things and say, this is bad, don't do this, not like that, don't do that. I don't do that. Okay, why is that? Because then the focus goes to what's wrong. Where should the focus go? If this is positive emotions, if these are negative emotions, the focus should go here. Problems live here in the negative emotions. Okay? Anything that is negative lives here. I don't care what it is. Overthinking. Okay? Over here. Fear, guilt, shame, anxiety. All of that lives here in the negative emotions. Now, we're human beings. We go back and forth. Okay? Now, hopefully, your thoughts are here the majority of the time and occasionally shift back. Okay, so here and then maybe here and then come back. Okay, now, if you're like this, then the majority of life is positive for you. So now let's look at the positive, negative, and this is the dividing line, the 50 percentile. This is positive, this is negative. All you need to do is push the positive to 1% more. Now the majority is positive. Okay. Now let's say that this represents one problem. Let's say this represents 1 degree of difficulty. So where do you put the focus to solve this? you don't focus on this. You don't focus on the problem. So when he asked me, right, like, tell me what I'm doing wrong. I need to know what I'm doing. I said, that's not how you solve a problem. He said, what do you mean? I said, you focus on what's going right and you grow that, and it edges out and eventually drowns out, or however you want to say it, the majority becomes positive. That new thing will grow and grow and grow and grow. Okay, so if someone has a negative complex or a bad attitude, focus on what they're doing right, not what they're doing wrong. Don't point out what they're doing wrong. Focus on what they should be doing. Because when you do that, you start to shrink the wrong part. You start to grow the positive and shrink the negative. Okay. So if there's a problem that develops, okay, these things grow. And they grow because thought grows. They grow because everything in life grows. It starts small. Problems start small and then they grow. Okay, so when they start to grow, you have to catch them. When you catch them, you don't focus on the problem. You focus on the solution. When you focus on the problem, you get more of the problem. The problem expands, the problem gets bigger, the problem becomes more complex. It's like worry. When you start to worry, you get that one thought that leads to another thought. And pretty soon your imagination takes that and says, okay, here, look, it's bigger. And then it gets bigger. And then what? For some people, it's out of control. Why? Because it gets in your subconscious. And your subconscious goes, oh, okay, we're imagining this bigger. It's bigger now. And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you get plagued by your thoughts. And thoughts become things. A belief is a thought. You keep thinking, it becomes a belief. And then what? Then how do you get rid of it? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. There is only the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. That's all that exists. So how are we going to get rid of this? How are we going to make this go away? Okay, positive, negative. Okay, if the problem is here and it's growing like this and the positive starts shrinking, in other words, if your bad attitude starts getting worse, because that's what bad attitudes do. Have you ever seen those people? They're always in a bad mood. They're always grumbling about something. They're always fighting something. They're always championing some kind of fight. Okay, because fighting feels good now. Why does fighting feel good? Because your subconscious has learned this habit. It's established this habit. It's established the habit already. So now that person is always fighting. Always fighting. Okay? What's the solution? Well, the solution lies over here, but now it's shrinking. Okay? Because these are the good emotions. These are the negative emotions. This is the bad habit, the negativity. This is the positivity here. So what you need to do is you need to find the positive aspects of that person and start to focus on those and grow that and push it back. That's how it works. You don't focus on the problem. If someone is going into debt and you focus on paying the debt, you focus on satisfying the debt, you focus on preventing the debt, you're focusing on the debt. And what happens to the debt? It gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Because why? Because your subconscious learns debt. Then it communicates with the superconscious, and now you have intuitive thought. But now your intuitive thought is being drowned out by fear. Because at the very root of the negative emotions is fear. It's the foundation of all negative emotions. Now, over here, on the positive side, at the very top is love. Okay, we discussed this yesterday, so I'm not going to go over all the individual positive emotions. Okay, but at the very bottom of the positive emotions is satisfaction. So at least be satisfied first. At least be satisfied first. When you express gratitude, you are expressing satisfaction. You're saying, I'm grateful for this. I'm satisfied with this. I'm grateful for it. Guess what happens? It begins to grow. But that's at the very bottom of the positive side. At the very top is love. Okay? It's very difficult when you're caught up in the majority negativity. It's very difficult to show something love. Okay, but that's exactly what you have to do. You have to practice. Okay? And give love to it. And then what happens? It starts to push back like that. Now you go 50%, now you go for 51, 52, 55. Can you go 80%? When I do my intakes with clients, I always ask them, what percentage of your life do you consider is positive? And they go, oh, well, majority is positive, like maybe 90%. There's 10% negativity. That's almost a perfect person. The only perfect person I'm aware of, which was 100%, was Jesus Christ. So 90% is highly unrealistic. So when you're 51%, the majority of your life is positive. 52%, you're really doing good. 53%, outstanding. 54%, way higher than average. Way higher than average. But even if you maintain 51% positivity, your whole life has changed because now the majority is positive. Okay, so we're talking about guilt today. Okay, so you have to also understand that when you let go, when you release, okay, the Christians say, give it to God. Okay, let go. Let go and let God is the expression. You have to understand that letting go is not giving up. I've had to let go of a lot of family members. I've had to just let go. Disengage. Because you can try and you can try and you can try and try. You can try to mend. You can try to, soothe. You can try to, right, make good on something or make good with someone or whatever. And you can try and try and try and try. And then you realize one day you need to let go. For you. It's part of self-love, which is part of self-preservation. You have to preserve this one. Why? Because there's people in your life, they don't have to be family members, but there are people in your life that deserve this, the good side of this. And in those situations, you're whipping a dead horse. So sometimes letting go means you're wise enough to stop forcing what you can't control. A lot of old school people are like that. They keep trying to force what they cannot control instead of letting it go and acknowledging that, okay, that's the way it is. That's the way. I can't do anything about that. I need to let it go. I need to disengage. Can you really let go of your past? Can you really let go of something in the forget about it sense, like forgive and forget? No, there's no such thing. No such thing. Thank you, Karen. Thank you. There's no such thing. You never forget. Your subconscious never forgets. So what does this letting go of guilt involve? Practice. Practice. Purposeful practice. You may be choosing peace over exhaustion because it's a lot of work whipping a dead horse. It's a lot of work. Okay? So you keep trying, you keep trying, you keep trying. Maybe this time she'll respond. Maybe this time he'll be better. Maybe if I give this to my son or my daughter or my grandson, my granddaughter, my nephew, niece, maybe if I do this for them, and then that doesn't work. Wisdom is knowing the difference between what you can and cannot change. Wisdom is granted. Wisdom is not learned. You don't learn wisdom. Wisdom is granted. So, what's a good strategy for this guilt thing? Okay. Choose rest as a strategy. Okay. This is your meditation. This is your vibrational break. So your meditation is being still, relaxing, being still. You have to be still and know. When you become still enough, you start getting the messages. Intuitive thought. It takes a little bit of clarity to be able to hear these things right away. And pretty soon, when you get used to it, when you relax enough, when you get used to it, it will just hit you like this. It will just hit you like that. It will stick out. You'll see somebody and you'll get intuitive thought. When somebody needs help, when somebody needs assistance, when somebody has a problem, the answers come. When you have a problem, when you need help, when you need a solution, the answers come. Because there's been a bit of relaxation here. Okay, this is the prison. And when fear gets too big over here, it begins to paralyze you. You can't move. Why? Because you're preoccupied here. It has nothing to do with your legs, your arms, your physical body. It's here. The prison is here. So the key phrase should be at that point, for releasing guilt, I have done enough. I have done enough. And that amount of personal restraint is necessary to free yourself. Now, you can pray about it. You can meditate about it. But if you don't change the roots of the tree, the subconscious roots, the subconscious core beliefs, if you don't change those beliefs, you can pray and pray and pray, and the results will be temporary. Just like the fruits of the tree, which are the actions, the fruits of the tree. So let's go through the tree again. Subconscious beliefs, paradigm, okay, the trunk of the tree. The fruits up here are the actions that turn into results. You can change your actions. You can change your actions just like that. You can perform a different action. Can you be consistent? No. Why? Because eventually you will give in to the subconscious, and the subconscious takes over because your body knows how to do it better than you. And when I say better than you, I'm referring to your conscious mind, the frontal lobe of your brain that gets all these thoughts. So these actions now become temporary. They're temporary. I can perform any action. But if it's not in my core beliefs, if it's not in my core values, if it doesn't resonate with me, the actions will not be consistent and the results will not be consistent. And this is why, even with money, people make a lot of money, right? And then money goes away. Something takes it away. Money doesn't stick. Why? Because there's some belief down here that always returns. that always reactivates, that always takes over. Some people call them demons. Okay, it's your subconscious. It's your core values, your core beliefs. Now, sometimes we sacrifice our core values. Sometimes we sacrifice our core beliefs. Sacrifice, what does that mean? Give it up. We give up. We give up on them. When you sacrifice, what takes its place? Something else. Then what happens? Then it takes its place. Then all of a sudden you forget these things. They become something of the past, because now there's new core beliefs. You can't install 100% of them. Okay? But the guilt that we're talking about alleviating this morning, the guilt that we're talking about, that's the conflict between what you're doing now, what your present practice is now, and what you truly believe. So choose rest as a strategy. Resting is not laziness. It's not being lazy. So many people are afraid to rest because there's something they feel they should be doing. Oh, I can't meditate. I don't have time to meditate. I have to go do this. I have to do the laundry. You know, I have 10 minutes now instead of meditate. Oh, I have to go wash the dishes. I have 10 minutes now. I can't rest. I have to go. I have to catch up. I have to catch up. I have to work hard. Working hard is plantation mentality. It's factory mentality. Why? Because there are people above you that want you to work hard. Because everything rises to the top. Think about it. Oh, you have to work hard to get ahead. Who's defining that? Is God defining that? No. There is nothing hard about God. There is nothing negative about God. But when you make money your God, things become hard. Because it takes a lot to make a little. It takes more and more and more and more. And then the value goes down. But the exertion, the physical exertion is more. Because, well, you got to work hard, work hard, work hard, work hard. Then after your taxes, after your bills, after everything, you're left with very little. But you worked hard. And you work hard for 40 years, 45 years. Then you finally get a retirement party and you finally get the gold watch and you go on a couple cruises and then you get sick and die. Because when you're working hard, there's a back end to it. The front end is hard. There's only so much you can put a human body through before it fights back, before it gives out slowly, right? So you see people that work really, really hard, really, really hard, really, really hard, lots of money. Okay? This is the employment part of their life, and then this is the free part. This is retirement. How far does this go? Some people are lucky. It goes far. Okay? But in this section of life, the medical bills start to occur to fix the things that were wrong about this side. And now you have to fix it here. And now you experience the ramifications of working hard, or working harder than you should, or the feeling that you have to work hard to get ahead or to get more. Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization fixes all of it. You can be in the world and not of the world. You don't have to be a component of the machine. You don't have to be a hard-working component in the system. You may have to work long. You may have to work many hours. But you don't have to work hard. You don't have to abuse this one in the name of money. You don't have to abuse this one in the name of power. You don't have to abuse this one in the name of the American dream. You can attract what you need. For those of you that believe in God, in the Christian God, Mark 11:24. Read it. It's also in Luke. It's also in Matthew. Read it. It's your subconscious and superconscious working together in harmony. If two or more pray in thy name, it shall be done. Esoterically, it's the subconscious and superconscious. Two or more. The third is the conscious. The conscious mind. When you align the conscious, the superconscious, and the subconscious together, now you have a working machine. Because now you're thinking the right thoughts. And those correct thoughts, or let's say ideal thoughts for you, for your life path, become beliefs in the subconscious. Now the subconscious speaks to the superconscious and says, okay, this is what we believe. This is our way of doing things, the way we are going to proceed. This is what we believe. This is how we see the world. And our actions will reflect these things. And now the results reflect what we're here for. And when that happens, it doesn't matter about giving Caesar what is Caesar's. That will happen automatically. It doesn't matter about following laws. You will follow laws automatically. But now you have alignment. Now there's no conflict. Now you have ease instead of dis-ease. Now you have flow instead of working hard. When you have flow, things just come like this. And now you're handling things like this instead of handling things like this. This is living in lack. This is not enough. I need to get more. I need to get more. I need to work harder. I need to get. Well, if you believe in God, why do you do that? If you believe in Source, why do you do that? It's greed, isn't it? So you do this. You do this. This is the asking position. This is the asking position. So prayer and meditation go together because prayer is speaking to God and meditation is listening to God. And you have to listen or you will not hear. And that's why it says in scriptures, it said, they will hear, but they will listen, but they won't hear. Because it won't make sense. Because out here in the physical matrix, it's work hard. They use terms like dog eat dog. Do you have to be dog eat dog? Do you have to live like dog eat dog? No, you don't have to. You don't have to. But you have to have that rest. You have to have that break. Now, practice self-compassion. Self-compassion. Because before you can do it to someone else, you have to be able to do it to you. Self-compassion. Be compassionate with yourself. Remind yourself that caring doesn't mean carrying the burden. Okay, caring does not mean carrying someone else's burden. You care about somebody, you care about them. You can show them how to alleviate the burdens. You can remind them to focus on the positive until you grow it past the 50 percentile. And now the majority is positive. You can help them with that. But many will hear and not listen. They won't be able to listen. And if they listen, some of them won't be able to hear. Because their subconscious is focused on whatever their programming is, whatever their conditioning is. They've been conditioned into that. Whatever they've been conditioned to. Some of the brightest people I know have been conditioned into limiting beliefs. And they're very highly intelligent people. Highly intelligent people. But at some point, when you have achieved so much in education, your subconscious starts taking on different beliefs that leave out the superconscious. And when that happens, there's a disconnect. When there's a disconnect between the subconscious and superconscious, ego takes over. Your free will, your ego. Then you get that intuitive thought, I think I'm going to turn over here. I should turn here. And then but no, that doesn't make sense. It's just a random idea. Then you get stuck in the traffic jam and you go, I knew I should have turned over there. Because you did know. But the more educated you get, the more you ignore the superconscious. The more educated you get, the more you think you have the solution. So, practice self-compassion. You can love someone deeply, but still let go of the guilt for whatever mistakes you made. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. It's for you. It's for you so you can free you. Self-compassion, self-love, self-compassion. New buzzwords. What it really is, it's not trying to control something that's beyond. In Hawaii, we say kuleana. It's not your kuleana. You can't do anything about it. It's not for you to do. It's not for you to decide. It's not for you to take action upon. It's something that you can't control. It's out of your control. Don't worry about it. Let it go. It doesn't matter. You can't fix it. So why should you feel guilty about something you can't do anything about? Write it down. I am so happy and grateful now that I did all I could with love and care. Thank you. And release it. Then it leaves. Then you're good. Okay. Also be present, not panicked. Okay. When you're rushing, when you're panicking, okay, when you're doing things that's being driven out of panic, you're being driven from fear. When you're being driven from fear, you're not being grateful. When you're rushing, you're not being grateful. When you're pushing, you're not being grateful. Do we have those moments? Yeah. Do I have those moments? Yeah. We're human beings. But when you catch yourself, when you remind yourself, when you are with a partner or a friend or an acquaintance or a family member that you are growing with, and remind each other, then be mindful and go, okay, I'm going to be present. Being present is to be. Releasing guilt helps you show up in a calm, grounded way, not in a authoritative way or a pushy way. Okay? Not from fear or urgency. Every time you experience urgency, you're experiencing fear. Okay? You know those TV commercials with music of urgency, radio commercials? They're all designed for urgency, to keep you just a little bit fearful, just a little bit on edge, just a little bit edgy. Do you own a television? I don't own a television. Some people I know keep the TV on all day long, sometime on news, all day long. And they're always edgy, always a little edgy. It keeps you from your life path. Why? Because your life path will unfold like this without effort. Without efforting, your life path will continue to unfold because you are living one long now. This is now. 5 minutes ago, it was now. 1 week ago, it was now. Tomorrow, it will be now. It is always now. Yes, we have to have a calendar. Yes, we have to mark time. But the only true time is now. The future and the past are mental concepts. They're imagined concepts. The future and the past. Tomorrow, yesterday. If you woke up right now, right outside my window, the sun is shining. If I wake up 12 hours from now, it'll be dark outside, but it is still now. Now does not change. One day, my now will be gone and I won't be here. 100 years from now, we will all be dead. We will all be topsoil. We will all go back to the earth. Everything you eat builds the flesh. And one day you go back to the ground. But this, what do you call this? A spirit? You call this energy? You call this a soul? What do you call that? Whatever you call that, that's who you are. You're not your body, you're not your name. You have a name so you can answer to something. Names don't mean anything to me. I've had many names. I get another name, it's just another label, it's just another signature. It's not a big deal. The big deal is in here. That's where the big deal is, because the kingdom is within. Because everything is in here. You came fully equipped to the planet, to the realm, however you look at it, okay? However you see it. That's the trunk of the tree. Your perception. The roots are your subconscious beliefs, your core beliefs. The fruit of the tree are your actions that turn into results or consequences. Consequences has a negative connotation to it, right? Oh, you're going to suffer the consequences. If your actions promote suffering, yes. If your actions are lighthearted and not so serious, and you make a mistake, oops, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. There you go. You're off the hook. Why? Because God lives in here. Because God lives in your bestie. Because God lives in your mom and your dad and your brothers and your sisters. So be present, not panic, to release guilt. Today we're talking about releasing guilt if you just joined us. Iris, good morning. Good morning, Iris. Good morning, Maria. Good morning, Unknown. Okay, so repeat this cycle as you need to. Okay, I hope you were taking notes. If you're not taking notes, just remember affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. Write it, think it, speak it, visualize it, imagine it, and you will live it. Because God lives in here. Source lives in here. Creation lives in here. You are a co-creator with the superconscious or consciousness. All that is. All that is in here. And it will unfold very easily for you, almost effortlessly, if you allow instead of push. When you push, when you keep pushing, when you work hard, when you do this, your goodness is trying to get to you. But you keep pushing, 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 pushing. And then when you sleep, things come. So you do get a break. But I'm suggesting to create more breaks, because the more breaks you take, the more energetic breaks you take, the more your goodness has a chance to come to you. The more your blessings will come. When you pray, blessings come. When you meditate, blessings come. When you ask, you shall be given. When you seek, you shall find. It's in all the holy books. It's not just in the Holy Bible. It's the way we are designed as humans. That's the way we were made. That's the way we're created. And we create. We speak things into existence. Keep speaking something. The same thing over and over and over. Speak it all day, every day. Speak it for 2 weeks and you'll feel a shift. You speak it for 63 days in a row, something will happen. But it's your subconscious working with the superconscious, which allows creation. You're a creator. It's not an accident that they call people online creators. They're creators. They're digital creators, but they're creators. But in here, hi Laura, good morning. In here, creation begins. In here, God exists. In here, the magic happens. In the true magic sense, in the sense that you're a human. You're not a dog. You're not a cat. You're not a cow. You're not a horse. They have one experience like this. They look out at the world like this. You can observe yourself. You can observe yourself in motion. And this is why you're so critical of yourself. Because you see every mistake you make. You see all the opportunities that you missed, and you see why. And you know why. Even if you don't want to really think about it, but you know why. There were so many opportunities that I screwed up on, right? And I know I did. And I took responsibility for it. But guess what? Sometimes that turns into negative self-talk. And then we start talking bad about ourselves. And what does that do? It lowers self-esteem. then how do we think about ourselves? Not very well. Then what does that do? It places limitation on you because you don't think you can. When you start thinking you can, the magic begins to happen. You take the baby steps, the doors begin to open. Why? Because the superconscious is bringing things into play. People, places, events that will lead you in baby steps to your goal. Your subconscious is showing you confirmation. Your reticular activating system in your brainstem is filtering out the things that you're not focused on. You're a very, very powerful being. More powerful than you realize because you are made to feel less than about many things. Education makes you feel less than in certain instances, in certain fields. Employers, corporations make you feel less than in certain instances, in certain situations. Your television, your scrolling, your laptop makes you feel less than in certain instances because you're observing. So start fixing that. Affirmations, meditation, focalization, visualization, less than 12 minutes a day. Less than 12 minutes a day. Brand new life, brand new things. Things just come. Things pile up, so you're going to have to give them away. Okay? Or sell them. I give them. Okay? Because the expression easy come, easy go is true. When you start experiencing manifestation, right? Because you already do it, you just have to see it for what it is. Your eyes have to open so you can see what it is. You don't have to believe in it. We can call it achieving goals. We can call it manifestation. But when you start to see it and you start to see how it works, and that everything that you write down and everything that you speak starts happening, and these things start coming into your life, even if you see it as a coincidence, it becomes easy to give away. Why? Because it came easy. If it came easy, why would you sell it? Why would you make it hard for someone else? Give it away. In Hawaii, it's part of our culture. Giving is part of our culture. Generosity is part of our culture. So, easy come, easy go. Give. The more you give, the more comes in this side. And then you become selective. Okay, I'm going to keep this one. I'll give away these 3. I'll keep that one. I'll give away those 4. But then you start to see how the magic happens. Sometimes you have to wait. Sometimes you have to wait. I wait 2 weeks sometimes. Sometimes I wait longer. Sometimes I put things off purposely, and then it doesn't come. And then sometimes when I say, okay, that's enough, I'm going to just do it. And then I make up my mind, right? And then it comes and I go, wow, it took this long to do? It took this long for me to make up my mind, and then all of a sudden, it happened in 2 months. It's up to you. You can make up your mind or not. You can let go of guilt or not. But now you have the process, and now you understand guilt and what it really is. And it's rooted in fear down here in the negative emotions. I'm Junior. We're going to let go of our international feed right now and say thank you for joining us. Goodbye, you guys. Thank you, Jay, for moderating. Thank you, Karen. Thank you.